How's it going, Chris? Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
How's it going?
How's everything been?
It's alright.
Good. So, it's been, a month since I've seen you last? Great. And just so you know, before we start our session, if you want some water, I have some on the side here for you in case you get parched, because I know we're talking a lot during our sessions. Okay, great. So, tell me, how's everything been going at work, at the mechanic? How's the girlfriend doing? How's your son? Give me some updates. Bless you.
Thank you. Work's been alright.
Good.
Been trying to stay busy, get more hours. The usual with the girlfriend. Been able to pick up my son from school more often.
That's good.
But yeah, pretty much the same all around.
Okay. So, what does that mean, the same with the girlfriend? The same as in things have been progressing, things have been getting better in terms of the relationship between you two? Has your meth usage been a factor to make it to that has been affecting that relationship?
It's been, the usage has been pretty much the same, so the relationship has been pretty much the same.
Okay. So, tell me about your son. How have things been going? You said you've been able to pick him up from school more often. That's great.
I've just been spending some more time with him, and I notice that when I'm with him, I usually don't get the urge to use, but sometimes he'll stress me out, and that stress will bring about these urges.
Okay. So tell me, what do you do when you have your son and you're getting tempted to use? What does that look like?
I used to put him to bed and then use while he was sleeping, but now that he's a little bit older, it's kind of hard to do that. So I guess that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he still stresses me out.
Yeah, that's I think, normal for a lot of toddlers to stress out their parents, right? Especially at that age, he's growing, he's asking a lot of questions, he's becoming more aware of things. So I can understand that. I don't have children myself, but I am an aunt to many, many kids, and I see that how that can be very stressful. Let me ask you, what does he do exactly that? and I know that may sound like a silly question. What does your toddler do to stress you out? But is there any particular thing he does that kind of triggers you?
Doesn't follow directions right away, just like most kids.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want to eat when you make him something.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The usual stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like pretty normal toddler stuff. Okay. So you're able to pick him up from school more often, but he does things that stresses you out, not eating, not sleeping. So let me ask you something. What if it's during the day? Let's say you pick him up right after school. He's not going to take a nap anytime soon or go down to bed anytime soon, but he's stressing you out. You said that when you're with him, you aren't tempted to use, or you are tempted to use, but you don't engage in that impulse. You don't give into that impulse. So what do you do with him? Have you been implementing the schedule, the activity schedule that we planned out the last session, about kind of having your Monday through Friday scheduled out in terms of what you're going to do, establishing a routine, And have you been doing your homework assignments and journaling?
There's no schedule with a toddler.
No, I'm saying your own schedule.
Yeah, he doesn't allow me to really do anything.
Okay, so you're
It's
having
in the afternoons, anyways.
okay. So you're having some trouble keeping up with the activity scheduling that we put together. Okay. So we're gonna work on that and see maybe if we can reduce it or modify it a little bit to where you can follow it. And the homework assignments, have you been able to journal whenever you're feeling the urge to use?
No, I don't have time for that.
Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your girlfriend. What's going on with her? You said things have been about the same.
I usually wake up before she does. I go to work. She'll take our son to school.
Mm-hmm.
He starts late. He's in TK.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then by the time he's ready to go out, she goes to work. So I pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and I have a couple hours before Mom gets home. So those couple hours are pretty tough sometimes, but we usually go eat something.
Mm-hmm.
Baby Shark is usually a good solution.
Mm-hmm.
And around the time that she's about to come home, he'll go take a nap. So at least I have some peace in the house before she comes home.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What does that mean? You'll have peace in the house?
Usually when she comes home,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that she does is complain about how the house is dirty,
Mm-hmm.
or how our son's not fed, or his homework wasn't done,
Mm-hmm.
or she'll find something to complain about, which usually stresses me even more. So I try to take those few moments when he's asleep, when she's not home, to decompress.
Okay. And decompress meaning use?
Not always, but sometimes.
Okay. So, okay. So let me ask you something. How many days a week does your son go to TK?
Usually 3 days a week.
3 days a week. Okay. What days are those?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, well, it kind of. And are you always picking him up every day from?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. So that is kind of like a schedule that you've been following, at least those 3 days a week, which isn't bad. And then the other days are just kind of random. They're not as structured as Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about your girlfriend. You said that she's complaining after she gets home from work. She's tired. I'm sure you're tired too. You also work. You also are very active in taking care of your toddler, which is actually really great, Chris. And I wanted to commend you for that because, I remember our first session when you and I talked. I know you weren't seeing your son as often, but now it seems like you're seeing him on a regular basis. You are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You're that main parent that comes and picks him up. You take him out for lunch. You guys have activities together. These are all wonderful things. You guys eat together, sing songs together. This is all progress. I'm not sure if you see it, but I definitely see a lot of progress in this regard. And I gotta say, I'm really proud of you. I think you're doing a great job. And although I do understand that, excuse me, I do understand that, your girlfriend does stress you out, that your toddler does stress you out. These are normal stressors. These are stressors that I think many adults go through when we have young kids, when we're trying to balance our work and our family life. which is totally normal, totally normal. So again, I commend you for the way that you've been handling this. Your usage has been reduced, although it is still a problem. It's something that has been reduced, and that is progress. So let me just this really quickly. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to. Do you mind if I grab a quick sip, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Just grab a quick sip, and you can feel free to grab yourself some water as well. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about your girlfriend and how when she comes home, she starts to complain about your son, about you, about the state of the house, about the fact that the house is dirty, whatever the scenario is. Okay. Elaborate for me a typical situation, right? You and your son, you came home from preschool, or from TK rather, picked him up. Let's say, what's a normal meal that you guys have after you pick him up? Do you cook something? Do you go and buy something outside?
Might be McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Might be microwavable pizza. He usually likes pizza.
Okay. Who doesn't like pizza, right? Especially for a toddler. Okay. So let's say you pick him up. You pick up McDonald's that day. It's a special day. He gets a Happy Meal. You come home. You have that meal, or you have that meal at McDonald's, and you come home, and you're tired, right? Because you just got off of work too. Your toddler, he's running around, he's playing, and let's say you decide to sit down and relax instead of helping out with the dishes or the house or whatnot. Your girlfriend comes home. Okay, walk me through that scenario from the time she walks through that door to the time where you are just at your limit. What happens? Walk me through that.
Well, she'll usually come home, and when she puts her things down, she usually glances around the room
Mm-hmm.
and does this sigh that she always does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that sigh says everything I need to know. Usually when she doesn't do the sigh, she's not going to say anything, but that sigh is a pretty good indicator.
What does that sigh mean to you?
Tornado warning.
Tornado warning? Okay. What does that sigh mean to you? What do you interpret from that sigh?
It means get ready for the storm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And
I like that analogy. Get ready for the storm. Okay. And what does that storm look like?
Well, like most storms, it starts off passively. Banging, the cabinet doors closed, more sighing, until finally, when our son's about to wake up, she usually takes some time, uses the restroom, gets changed, and then his house is always a mess. How come he's still wearing his school clothes?
Mm-hmm.
How come his stuff isn't put away? And it's not like I'm not going to get around to it, but I just want some time for myself to relax before I do another shift, at the house. So, but I don't think she understands that.
Okay. So she gets home. Okay, so we're just gonna let's explore this thought a little bit. Okay, and is that all right? We'll walk through this scenario, and maybe we can understand the perspective that your girlfriend is coming from a little bit. So, okay. So you're saying that she gets home, and then when she gets home, she gives this this sigh. I'm assuming it's a sigh of frustration that you interpret, right? Is that a safe assumption?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she comes in. If she gives a big sigh, that means, as you put it, that a tornado's coming, right? So for her, if she doesn't sigh, then you know that she probably won't say anything that day. Okay. So the storm includes banging of the cabinets, her complaining about, from what I hear, mainly your son and the house environment, complaining that he's still in his school clothes, that things aren't put away in their proper place, that the house is a mess, that you haven't. She feels maybe that you haven't put in much effort in the house since you guys have gotten home. Okay. So when it comes to this situation, when it comes to her sighing, this sigh of frustration, this as soon as she walks through the door, is it possible that there's some assumptions that are possible in the situation? Like, is there any other reason why she would be coming in and sighing, and is it possible that that sigh is obviously frustration, but could it mean something else?
I'm sure she's tired of the situation too. I mean, she works, she has to come home and, handle our son also, and I'm sure it's a lot of work for her, but, I can do without the unnecessary commentary.
Sure.
It's like we're both on the same team. You don't gotta shoot me down.
Okay. I think that's a fair statement. I think that's a very fair statement. So basically, given what we've talked about, um, do you have excuse me, any proof to kind of confirm your thoughts about her sighing and what that means? Like, what are your evidences to let you know that that sigh means what it means to you?
You just know.
You just know.
Experience.
But do you have any tangible or anything that you can reference that kind of confirms for you, like, this sigh means she's going to complain?
Like I said, she'll come in, she takes a look around, puts her stuff down, then the sigh, and then these aggressive movements of closing and opening things and, even walking aggressively.
Okay. So that for you gives you the signal to understand, like, hey, I'm frustrated, I'm angry right now.
I told you, it's a tornado warning.
Okay. Okay. So is it possible that there are some other explanations for why she's behaving that way? Are there any alternative, explanations for why she's reacting the way she's reacting when she comes in the house? The house is one thing, right? Your toddler is one thing. Walk me through it. What do you think? And I know you just said that, she also works, right? She's also handling your son. You both are, right? This is a shared responsibility that you both have. But is there anything else?
I don't know. She didn't tell me nothing.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know. Maybe something at work happened or something. I have no idea.
Sure. Now let me ask you something. Are there ever scenarios where you come home frustrated that has nothing to do with her, has nothing to do with your toddler?
Of course I do.
Sure.
Everybody does.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I think that's a fair statement. What other reasons? You said that she handles your son. She also works. She also has other frustrations that might have happened at work. Anything, any other possibilities that you think she might come home frustrated and give that that frustrated sigh?
I know she's been dealing a lot with problems with her mom.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
Her mom's been kind of on her case a little bit.
About what particularly?
You know how moms are. They'll her mom's been sick, that's one, and then her mom continues to tell her, your life is no good, I'm no good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to get your life in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she doesn't want to hear that either.
You said her mom's been sick. What has she been sick with?
I don't know, just old age.
Okay. So mom complains about you, complains about her life, complains about, her.
Everything under the sun.
Okay. So that is another stressor too. Maybe her mom is stressing her out. So we've explored that maybe her son might be stressing her out. Maybe work might be stressing her out. Maybe she got a phone call from mom right before she came home, right? Those are all reasons why she might be coming home and giving you that frustrated sigh, right?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. What about you two? How have you two been doing? Is that another possible reason that she has some stress or you have some stress?
You know, we don't usually spend that much time
Okay.
alone without our son.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do, we just kind of want a break. So we don't really spend, I guess, quality time with one another.
Okay. Do you think that's another possible reason she might be coming home frustrated? Maybe she wants to come home and relax and spend some time with you, but there's so many other things going on in the house.
It's possible.
Okay. Okay. So I wanna talk about how you feel a little bit. So when she comes home, okay, and she puts her stuff down and she gives you that here we go. For you that triggers something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Triggers some feeling. So when your original thought of here we go again, here comes the storm, as you put it, right? When this thought occurs, what result do you get from that thought? Like, what types of feelings do you start to get once you hear that sigh? You know, what thought patterns do you have? What's inducing you? What happens? What happens to Chris?
Well, I start to get stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
And then every action that she does, I start to interpret as some type of passive-aggressive expression of her frustration,
Mm-hmm.
which only adds to my stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just kind of, a race to the boiling point at that point until she says something.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I think that's fair. So you start to feel stressed out. Do you have a particular train of thought or a particular pattern that you begin to do when she starts to do that? So let's say she comes in, she's banging stuff around, she's frustrated, she's being passive aggressive towards you, passive aggressive, towards your son, maybe.
No, I mean, towards me, she doesn't say anything towards them.
Okay. So, okay. is there any particular thing that you do at that time?
Just sit and wait.
Okay. So you just kind of sit and kind of let her go through the motions? Okay. So there's nothing particular that you say to her?
No, I've learned that just saying anything only makes it worse.
Okay. So you sit and you don't say nothing. Are you usually sitting on the couch watching TV or relaxing or something?
Something like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is in this regard as well, Chris. I see some progress. I mean, you've uh, you've learned to not escalate things. When I know before you were a lot more vocal about your frustrations, so you've kind of learned to let her go through the motions so you can reduce the friction in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of progress in you, and I commend you for that. I think that's great. Okay, so we named a few other possibilities for why she is sighing out of frustration. So, and we've named a few other possible reasons for why she's acting this way. We've talked about maybe work is stressing her out. Maybe just the way your toddler stresses her out. Sure, stresses her out as well. Maybe it's possible that mom gave her a phone call on the way from work to home and maybe complained about something, or maybe mom said something, or maybe just mom's health has been stressing her out as well, you know, as and I know you said that she kind of has like a lot of friction in her relationship with her mom, but they still do talk, right? And they still do keep in touch.
I guess.
Okay. Maybe you and her not spending time alone is also contributing to that stress.
Possibly.
You guys don't have that intimate time anymore. So, these are all possible reasons for why she may be coming in and acting this way and sighing the way that she has been. So, what would be the implications of latching onto those ideas as possible explanations for why she's coming in and acting frustrated?
I mean, I would definitely get less mad at her, but at the same time, that doesn't excuse, I didn't do anything to her.
Okay. So you would be less mad. You would be less upset. You would be less upset at her. If you knew coming in that these were all things that were contributing to her coming in and just going, and letting it all out at home.
Right.
Okay.
She should go to the gym and get a punching bag or something and then come home.
Okay. I mean, yeah, those are great ways to get your frustration out. And I agree. Sometimes, unfortunately, when we let out our anger and our frustrations, we do it with our families. And I agree. I think there should be alternative ways to get that frustration out. But sometimes that's not always the case, right? She has a toddler, she has work, she has a sick mom, she has you she's also worrying about and taking care of, right? Taking care of in the sense that, you guys are trying to mend your relationship. You guys are trying to work things out for the sake of your son. You guys are, cohabitating now, which is a huge step towards mending and fixing the relationship, right? So I know you said that you would feel less mad, less upset at her, if you knew that these were all the reasons why she was acting the way she was acting. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel emotionally as it being a possible explanation?
I mean, I realize that it's not me, which I guess helps in the sense that it doesn't make me feel like the relationship is at risk.
So when you say makes you feel like the relationship isn't at risk, what else does that induce for you?
That, what we're going through is just temporary and we can work it out. She needs to, take initiative and figure out her stuff.
So is it possible for you for the next time this happens, Is it possible for you to entertain the alternative thoughts that we came up with, the alternative scenarios, the alternative explanations for why she's acting that way? Do you think you can stop and pause and maybe not internalize that sigh as it being directed towards you? And maybe stop and pause and think about, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's that.
It's possible, yeah.
I think that'll really help you two in terms of the relationship. Maybe you can even, get up at that moment, greet her. I know you're both tired, but maybe you can get up and greet her and say something to the effect of, how's work been? How was work today? How's your mom been?
Mm-hmm.
Or just kind of go through the list of things that you've done. Hey, welcome, however you want to greet her, and let her know, hey, our son's been fed. He's maybe change him into the clothes that she, even if you don't put it away, pile it in the corner, but just give him a change. So when she comes home, she can see that he's been changed, and maybe she won't be so upset.
Yeah.
Do you think we can try that?
Sure.
Maybe that can be your next homework assignment until the next session.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me just ask you one more question. Okay. This is what we call the miracle question. Okay. So let's say you wake up tomorrow. Okay. Chris Wallace goes to sleep tonight. He wakes up tomorrow morning, and while you were asleep, a miracle happened. I know this is silly, but entertain me, okay? A miracle happens overnight that solves all of your problems. I'm talking everything, okay? So, of course, when you wake up, you didn't know that this miracle happened. What would be the first thing that you would notice when you wake up the next day? What would be different? What would you be thinking differently? What would you be doing differently? What would you be believing differently? What would Chris Wallace's world look like?
Wake up, and both would take our son to school.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd both go to work. Or maybe she would stay at home and take care of our son, and I would go to work, and I would come back.
Mm-hmm.
Just be in a happy environment, I guess.
What does the happy environment look like for you, Chris? What does that happy environment look like for you?
Just peace at the house.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a harmonious home.
No fighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What about your usage?
I mean, I wouldn't be using, I don't think, if there wasn't as much stress, or at least not as much if there was less stress.
Okay. What else? What about your job? What about your income? What about your extended family? I know you've expressed, having your home harmonious, having your relationship harmonious.
Work is okay. I mean, everybody could.
But a miracle just happened overnight. In a perfect world, what would your life look like?
I enjoy what I'm doing, so maybe just getting paid more.
Okay, great.
Maybe moving to a bigger place.
Mm-hmm. And getting paid more and having a bigger place, what would that do for you?
Getting paid more just means that you have more flexibility to do things.
Mm-hmm.
You take my girlfriend out once in a while. Take the family out once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Those are beautiful
I think they
goals.
would like that.
I think so too. I think those are beautiful goals. And I think you can do that now. Maybe even if you don't have the income that you want. But there's activities that you can do that are budget friendly. Right? I know you're working more. You're doing great. And I've seen a lot of progress in you. Okay. Well, Chris, I think that was it's time, but let's focus on our homework assignment, okay? And let's just to reiterate, next time your girlfriend comes home, she's frustrated, what are you gonna do?
Try to understand possible reasons why she might be upset.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And is there any actions that you're gonna take at that time?
Try to get up and greet her when she comes in.
Okay. And then maybe explore a little bit more about, what that frustrated side is about. And like you said, like you mentioned earlier, that you guys are on the same team. And I really like that. I really like the way you phrased that. You are on the same team. So you got to help each other and keep working through this together. And I think the more you work together and the more that you are on the same team, as you put it, the more that you stick with our sessions, as you have been, I think we're going to be on the road to recovery. Okay?
I hope so.
I know you will, Chris. You definitely have the drive. You have the motivation. Okay? And I'm proud of you. You're doing great work.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Good seeing you, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.